Hello, everybody. I think we're live here. September 10th, 2024. And we've got a whole lot of action here tonight. We've got a massive presidential debate that's coming up in about 30 minutes. But we've also got some primaries here. It's the last primary day. We've got New Hampshire, Delaware, and Rhode Island. So we'll keep New Hampshire up here. And hello. Good to see some people here. This is going to be an interesting stream. It would be great if we could just show the entire video and the audio and do a real-time kind of reaction, but there's rules against that kind of thing, so we'll try to do what we did for the Biden-Trump debate, and that is just kind of hang out, a little bit of commentary, even though there's nothing to show or hear. All right, so we've got Rando in here. We've got election polling official. Nice to see a couple of regulars. Sure there'll be some more, some semi-regulars coming by. Hopefully we have another classy stream here, as always. So this is it. This is a huge day. This is the big event. It's Harris and Trump. They're going to go toe-to-toe. Gloves off. So an ABC News debate. That's going to be coming up in about a half hour. In the meantime, New Hampshire primary. Take a look at this. We've got governor here. And this is an open seat. And the Democrats are really going at it. We've got Joyce Craig with a slight lead here over Cindy Warmington. 45.4 to 44.6. Joyce Craig, with about 38% of the vote in, she has a lead of a few hundred votes there. On the Republican side, we've got Kelly Ayotte, former U.S. Senator, as expected. She's going to be the nominee to replace Chris Sununu, however you want to say it. And we've got the U.S. House as well. Uncalled here, but Maggie Goodlander is leading over Colin Van Ostern. He's looking like he's going to take another loss here. Van Ostern. He did for governor. He did in the Secretary of State race. And now he's going to go probably 0 for 3 here. That's an open seat in that 2nd congressional district. Republican side, close one. Lily Tong Williams, 15% of the vote in, 31%. She's got over Vikram Mansharamani. He's at almost 30%. But of course, that 2nd district is a little bit bluer, so big uphill climb for whoever the Republican is. Maggie Goodlander is likely to be that next U.S. representative. The 1st district, that's going to be more competitive. Chris Pappas, the incumbent Democrat there. All right. Okay, California, Harris will perform slightly better. Imagine if this debate causes Trump or Harris to drop out. Hey, we've seen just about everything over the past few months. Okay, Bread Guy, good to see a channel member in the chat. Always good to see that. Maybe we'll get some new members. Maybe we'll get a lot new members today. Let's see. Did the polls end in Delaware? I want to see the Democrat primary for governor. Yeah, that we're going to bounce over there. Here it is. Matt Meyer with 9% of the vote in, is leading Lieutenant Governor Bethany Long Hall. Another open seat here to replace John Carney, term limited. Of course, he has endorsed his own lieutenant governor. That makes sense, but it has not been smooth sailing for her. She's had a couple of issues, not that I've really followed it closely. Republican side, probably Mike Ramone, the more moderate candidate. He's going to be called a rhino, but he might be the nominee on the GOP side. Also, an open seat here for the U.S. House in Delaware. It's vacated by Lisa Blunt Rochester. She's running for the U.S. Senate instead. And we've got Rhode Island. Not a lot of action here. We've got Sheldon Whitehouse, the incumbent Democrat. He's coasted to nomination. Patricia Morgan on the Republican side. Can't say I've actually followed that race. Whitehouse is really going to have a pretty easy time, I would imagine, in the general election. So, a couple of down ballot races here. And again, we've got about 24 minutes until this debate gets going on ABC. But again, apologies on the lack of actually streaming the audio and the video. But we'll just hang out, see what happens. Who will win the Democratic primary in Delaware? Well, only 9% in. Matt Meyer has the lead, but this is all coming in Sussex. The bluer vote is up at the top here. Newcastle. Maybe that changes things. That's where a lot of the population is. But Bethany Long Hall had not a totally smooth path to nomination, so I don't know. She might actually go down to Matt Meyer. Haven't followed it extremely closely, but it could be Matt Meyer. It's so easy to say that now when he has the slight lead. No physical body. Like a spirit. Hey, if that's a compliment, I'll take it. Yeah, look at all those emojis. Democrat primary for governor in Delaware seems to be surprisingly competitive, even though we thought Hall long headed the bag early on. I agree that it seemed like early on she had it in the bag. But I guess some kind of campaign finance stuff, and there's Mike Ramone. His vote pops in. Big 75% coming in here in Newcastle. But anyway, election polling official. Brand new member. Good to see that. Thanks for the support. Getting that early on. Usually that stuff kind of takes a while, but good to see a new member here. Appreciate that. Maybe that'll inspire the rest. That'll set the tone for the rest of the night, I should say. But that's good. Good stuff. Always need support for the channel. We're looking at 4,000 subs. Feels like we should be at twice that by now. But we're looking at 4. We're a couple away, at least last time I looked. And then hopefully we get to 5, 6, 7, 8, and maybe 10,000 at some point. Hopefully that doesn't take years. But yeah, the more members in the chat, the better. Hopefully we get a bunch more. Eventually do some extra things, but you know, it's pretty tough to do given how things are at the moment. But Rhode Island Democrats, really good at gerrymandering the state legislature. I I don't doubt that. That's usually what's going to happen in the red and the blue states. A lot of them go under the radar, especially in the state legislature. Matt Meyer winning Sussex is surprising because Hall Long is from there and Meyer is from Newcastle. Interesting stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So I'm not sure how full it's going to be in the chat tonight because again, I have to kind of keep things on the down low because of the copyright issues and such. But that'll be happening in about 20 minutes. We're all excited for this debate. That's really the main event. I know we've got a few primaries here, but this debate, this is crazy. We did this back at the end of June, and it was a different candidate. That was Biden. And I thought it was bad at the time, but apparently it was even worse than that. I thought it didn't seem to be an absolute knockout blow, but it was. Those emojis meant for Rhino and Dino. Gotcha. Gotcha. Rhode Island had a close U.S. House race in 22. Well, relatively speaking. But I don't know what it's going to take for Alan Fung to actually win a race as well. He's kind of like Colin Van Ostern. A lot of losses. Here's the at-large congressional district. Sarah McBride is totally dominating, 84%. Republican side, it is close. Haven't followed this race. Don't know really about the Republican side here, these two candidates. But it's expected that it's going to go blue, so it's not a huge deal. So while the debate is going, we'll just leave up these results here. I'll try to comment on things that are happening in the debate if there's an opportunity to do so. But hopefully everybody's having a great night and we're ready for some politics here. It's been a few weeks since we did a stream and we're really heading into it now. We're after Labor Day. This is not spring anymore. No more June, July, August. This is getting really hardcore now in the final 6, 7, 8 weeks. We've got polls. We could take a look at some polls here. Here's Real Clear Politics. We've got some Virginia polling from Washington Post. Harris +8. That does seem a little more in line with what I was expecting. But also got national polling +1 for Harris. And we've got 3 here. 2 of these from Harvard Harris, but it's tied up. So those are some of the latest polls. And Matt Meyer has a pretty comfortable lead here with 20% in at Newcastle. And Mike Ramone, a massive lead at 71%. So yeah, I'm assuming it's going to take a little time to fill in the chat. And again, I don't know how many people are going to show up, given it's just kind of just a casual primary / reaction stream. But we'll be on here. We'll get a poll up later on about who won the debate. We'll see what people have to say about it. Maybe it's a totally mind-blowing debate. Lots of excitement, memorable moments, one-liners. Maybe nothing exciting happens. Okay. Delaware at-large race might be the only one Republicans might be able to pick off if very lucky, since McBride is a bit too far to the left. Okay. It is a late primary. It's always interesting to think about how much is the general election affected by these late primaries, because these are at the very end. Less than 2 months, these candidates are going to have to get out there and plead their case to voters. So if McBride is too far to the left, maybe, well, there's probably going to be a pivot to the middle, you'd think. But the lean of the state should probably carry McBride over the top, one would think. Senior Scoops, nice to see you. How long are we going to stream? It's probably not going to be, oh, that Alaska stream. I think we hit at least 5 hours on that. Might have been 6, but I'm not sure exactly. We're going to finish the debate and then see what people have to say about it. Probably go for a little bit after that, but I'm not intending to go all night here for many hours, but at least through the debate and a little bit of the fallout and see what happens. And it's called here Sarah McBride has the nomination secured. So we'll have to see which Republican is going to win that nomination, but not sure how much it's going to matter. Then again, I'm not too familiar with these candidates. And in the U.S. House here in Rhode Island, all these are uncontested, so Republicans have an uphill climb here. Certainly in the first district, there's no way that one would flip. The second district, it's unlikely, but it has a lot more of a chance to flip. But Seth Magaziner here, he should be able to hold that seat. Still a close battle here in New Hampshire between Craig and Warmington. It was expected to be Craig, but looks like it's not going to be a cakewalk. We've got 10% here going into John Kuiper. So, could be kind of a spoiler candidate there, but 12 minutes away from this debate. Super exciting stuff. Can't wait for this finally to get through. Who knows if this is going to be the only debate? There might not be any more. We might get one with Vance and Walz. That could happen, but who knows if there's going to be another presidential debate. But what are we looking at in this debate? Well, I do think Harris has more to prove than Trump. I think that's what many people are saying. I agree with that. People are pretty much familiar with Trump. They hate him, they love him. That's pretty much it. Harris, her popularity, again, not that long ago, it was low. So it's spiked. So I think a lot of voters want to know more about her. And there's been criticism of her openness to the media, some flip-flopping. And we got to see how she conducts herself in a debate, because Trump has already debated. He debated many times in the past. And he got through that primary. Harris might be a little rusty. Wasp. Hey, nice to see you. You made it. You're looking at that progressive candidate here. That'd be Warmington. You're pulling for her. Okay. Republicans are underestimated in the governor's race. So you think they're going to have a comfortable victory? Either way, these primary numbers here, these are pretty much going to fall into the background as soon as this debate gets going. I'm going to keep it up again on the screen because, we can't actually stream this thing, unfortunately. But yeah, it's going to be totally unexpected. We don't know what we're going to be looking at in this debate. It could be a total wipeout for Trump. It could be a total wipeout for Harris. It's really tough to say what's going to happen. Okay, Kelly Ayotte is attacking Joyce Craig like she's the candidate, so she thinks Craig will win. Gotcha. Why do the Democrats tend to do good in Vermont despite being rather a rural state when it comes down to presidential elections? Well, Vermont used to be a very solidly Republican state, and it is rural. They do have some gun policy that's not extremely far to the left, given that, as you said, it's a rural state. But I think there's a lot that they don't like about Trump there, the Trump brand. They like the more liberal type of Republican, Phil Scott. That's what seems to be working there. But beyond that, sometimes there's just political oddities. Blue states occasionally will elect somebody from the other side. Same thing with red states. Trump's personal style surely tightened up the strictness of debate moderation, which made the exchange kind of less flexible. Yeah, there was some debate about the microphones, all that stuff. Looks like they will be muted. I guess the Harris campaign wanted them unmuted. New Hampshire is a very red statewide, blue state at the federal level. Yeah, and plus, our best guesses on what's going to happen in each state, it's really just that. It's our best guess based on what it's done in the past, and sometimes things change. I mean, Ohio was a swing state not that long ago, and now it's hard to even think about it like that. People weren't predicting, okay, in 16, it's just going to go really substantially to the right and no longer be a swing state. But now that's the new dynamic. So I try to keep people open to different possibilities. All right, it's called for Mike Ramone here for Delaware for governor on the Republican side. And it looks like Matt Meyer has a kind of a comfortable lead. So again, I do appreciate everybody showing up here for this stream. There's a whole lot of other streams out there, and again, we're not really showing the debate, but the chat will be open if people want to share their thoughts. And we'll see how it goes. This is going to be really exciting. And this is it. These are the last primaries, and then it's full speed into the election. Less than 8 weeks to go after this. Okay, libertarians in New Hampshire. Gotcha. Primal B, hey, another channel member. Gotta love that. Great to see you here. You'll be watching your own, but you'll come back after the debate. That makes sense. I get it. If we could stream it out in the open with the video and the audio, I would totally do that. Congrats on the 4K. You know, I'm not sure if they rounded up. I saw it said 4K, but on my end, I was still a couple of short. That was about an hour ago. So, not totally sure if we hit 4, but I do appreciate it at 4K. Nice milestone. Let's get it up to 5. Let's get it up to 7, 10, etc. Okay, you're going to join after to see the post-debate analysis. Yeah, we'll do that. Have a little bit of time after, see what happens. Try to provide some thoughts. I'll put a poll up. We'll see who people think won the debate. So while the debate's going, again, it's probably not going to be a whole lot of commentary because I'm going to be trying to listen to the debate. And if you're watching it on your own, it might be off synced by a few seconds. But don't worry, the chat should be here. Hopefully the connection stays up. Is there a chance for Florida to go above 10? Well, there's a chance. I think that that's got to be on the table after the 22 midterms, where DeSantis gets 19 points. Now, that's extremely impressive. So 10 points, I guess it's on the table, but I think it's not at all likely. But yeah, we have seen Florida make kind of a right turn. All right, so I'll keep up the New Hampshire primary results because we got to see what happens here in this governor's election. Craig is leading by 3 points, 44% of the vote in. And if the Republicans lose steam in Florida, they've got some steam to lose there because they gained a ton of steam a couple of years ago, way more than I thought they would. A few months before that election, I thought DeSantis he was going to win, but I didn't think he was going to hit 10, and then he hits 19. I know there was a hurricane, I get it, but 19 points. That's pretty crazy. And also, that was still after the Supreme Court abortion decision. There was supposed to be some backlash. There were in some other states, but if there was in Florida, it really did manifest. Yeah, Dems, if they stayed, I don't know why they would have stayed home again. If Dems were supposed to be motivated for the abortion decision, and if they hated DeSantis, I mean, there's a lot of hate for that guy, even though he won in a landslide. Did I predict he'd win 12? That probably sounds about right, 12, 13. At the very end, some of the polling was showing him get clearly over 10. So I probably saw him hitting 10 by the end, but not way over 10. So we're at about 3 minutes for the debate starts. So hopefully everybody has a good stream wherever you're watching it. States like Florida, Michigan, 22 makes sense. or oh, make you despise making predictions in the midterms due to low turnout. Yep, there's some craziness. It's hard to make predictions. You could just put out your best guess, and maybe you're right, but you're gonna have some losses probably. Most people are. Am I gonna do my own keys? Nah, not really. I don't have any keys to do. I'm gonna do what I've been doing, just try to cover what's out there and provide a few predictions where I can, but I'm not overly confident like some other people might be. Advice for someone trying to predict a hectic midterm election. The best advice is just kind of what I've been saying. Keep your options open. Focus on some data that you like, but also look at some other data that maybe you're not a big fan of. Try to remove as much bias as you can. And I would say don't overanalyze any of it. Because you could spend too much time getting lost in the data and it might not lead you anywhere productive. But yeah, pull out whatever data you'd like. Make your best guess, but be open to some changes. Be open to being wrong. All right, well, everybody, I think we're going to hit the debate. I'll leave this open. Keep it here if you'd like, and provide a little bit of commentary if I can, but it might be not synced with where you're at. We'll talk about it after or during any breaks. All right, no problem on the advice. Put up a Word document, type random thoughts during the debate, keep the interaction. Well, I guess it's a little late for that, but I don't know. That would take some extra setting up. Not sure if I can get that going. The day was okay, but here we go. I think it's starting. So let's get into it. Historic debate. This is the most important election until the next one. Good to hear your day was calming. Here we go. Look at this silent walk to the stage. Look at this. Oh, that was a little awkward. That handshake. She says her name. I don't think I'll be playing debate clips, at least today. Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm just watching this debate. All right, that's round one. Here comes the rebuttal. All right. All right, a lot of COVID talk here. Trump just starts talking. Okay. Run, spot, run. Ah, let's get into the tariffs. Yeah, Trump, he is having restraint, but yeah, a little bit tired. Trump hitting the economy hard there. All right, now we go to abortion. This should be a bit of a tough one for Trump. Oh, he means Virginia, not West Virginia. That's a mistake. Trump certainly defending the abortion decision. Oh, moderators coming in. That might be the high point for her is her impassioned position on abortion. I don't know about everybody wanting it to go back to the states. So we've veered off to student loans here. The student loans is a tangent. I think a, that was way too much of a tangent. Well, Trump not answering the veto question, that's that is weak. One or two jobs. She's passionate here. I don't know. Some people might think maybe she's going a little too far with the passion. So neither of them are going to answer this question. This is what people hate about politics. Here comes immigration. This one should help Trump. This is also being evasive on the question. Trump on abortion, Harris on immigration. Harris about to cry. It does seem like her eyes are always watering. I don't get that. What she's hitting him on his rallies and Hannibal Lecter? That was a little odd. We got a rally discussion. We knew Trump couldn't let that go. World War III. This is getting eating the pets. That's going to be notable. But Harris's reaction was very. That was too much. So Trump actually did not really actually answer this question. Oh, oh, the moderators are stepping in. You gotta love it or hate it. Oh, the laugh. That laugh. I don't think that's gonna add anything. It does look like she just cut an onion or something with the eyes. Liz Cheney endorsement. I don't know. Is that good? All right. Well, back here we go on it. More immigration, deportation. There's the prosecuted line. Trump going too defensive on these criminal cases, I think. Terminate the Constitution. Oh, Trump bringing up the assassination attempt. All right, he interjected there. Maybe that's probably a little much. Here comes the fracking. This is all about changing her positions. Let's see what she does here. Ooh, bankruptcy hit. Trump's not going to be able to resist that. I don't think this really addresses the changing positions. Here, yeah, I knew he couldn't resist it. Oh, that, that was odd and a little tense. Here comes January 6th. All right, he has no regrets. back to the Charlottesville story again. That I think is too played out and an incomplete characterization. Wake them up, get them out of bed. Trump probably going to look weak on this issue here. Well, the hope everybody's enjoying this stream here, even though there's hardly anybody here. Wish we could just show the whole thing, by the way. Right, we've got a commercial break here. So let's see. Apologies on the lack of audio or video, but whatever. So, what are we thinking here? Let's see. Intense, Harris performed better. Harris has a narrow edge. Yeah, I mean, it's all depends on how you want to look at it again. It's not like the last debate where it was pretty clear Biden was, however you want to put it, falling apart. I actually would hope they do cover that issue. Biden and his characterization as being extremely sharp, but he was appeared to be anything but. I think that should probably be discussed because he's still technically in office, and that might be kind of an important topic. But I don't know if they're going to hit that one. Other than that, um, it's some weird lines in there about the eating the dogs and all that, and Harris had a little bit of a laugh there, and there was some mostly restraint from Trump. A couple times he tried to go at it with the moderators, and Harris reacted to a couple things. But I do think it's fairly civil. I don't know why she came out at the beginning to introduce herself and shake his hand. That was a little weird. But yeah, the moderators did correct Trump a couple of times at least. In the last debate, that didn't really happen. So either you love that or you hate that. But Trump did take the bait on some of the stuff. That's that's every time. That's not unexpected. I would say, yeah, Trump a little tired, but I mean, not nothing too dramatic. And Harris, I don't. She does. It looks like her eyes do always seem to water or have some kind of reflection or something, like way more than I'm used to seeing on other people. I don't know why that is, but that is what it is. But I mean, I'm sure each side so far is making the case that their side is clearly winning and the other side is collapsing. You get to see that every time, pretty much, maybe with the exception of the last debate where somehow it was so bad even the Democrats had to throw in the towel. But yeah, so Trump does take too much bait, but he's also had some restraint. But he does take enough of the bait. And Harris is okay, I guess. But people probably getting their first look at her as the presidential candidate. So I don't know how that's going to land with any undecided voters. Maybe it perfectly lands. Maybe some people think she's not exactly what they're looking for. She did have some, I think, better prepared remarks, probably. She went down the list, had some responses for some of the issues. I think she's probably better at that, and she's worse at any kind of off the cuff, unscripted moments, like completely unscripted. This is not exactly scripted, but a lot of times on both sides, for sure, go back to, they direct the conversation back to an area they're more comfortable with. And I think Harris goes back to some of the lines I think she had prepared a little bit more. And what do we got left here? We got half hour left. Is that where we're at? Let's see. All right. You guys talking about Georgia, gun control? Gotcha. All right. I think we're going back to the debate now. Trump not directly answering that question again. Yeah, I'm still here again, just trying to watch this thing. Quiet, please. Is that going to be a notable line? Oh, this one's gonna be interesting. This is going pretty far back. Back to Bloomberg and I love when the moderators say briefly, but then it's like a full speech. Going back to fracking and the guns, that seems like a weird. All right, we've got the closing statements coming up. And I do appreciate the few people in here sticking this out. Again, really not a ton to present here to the audience. So it's real dedication if you're deciding to hang out here where there's not that many people here. And hopefully everybody's got their stream up somewhere, having a nice time. But we're going to come back for the closing statements. Let's see. Again, yeah. Hopefully, we're all having a great night here on this primary night. We've got the results here in New Hampshire. We've got Joyce Craig has defeated Cindy Warmington. It's kind of what we were expecting. And Matt Meyer has defeated Bethany Long Hall. All right. But yeah, the few people in here are the true fans of the channel, I would say. So should be some closing statements. Then we can get a poll up here and see what people had to say about this debate. It's not the most exciting stream. Certainly at election day, that's going to be where all the action is. Hopefully we get a huge crowd there. Yeah, Matt Meyer, he's going to be the nominee. Bit of an upset, maybe. It's always weird when the lieutenant governor loses in a primary. You felt Trump began to fall apart in the second segment. I thought it was. I didn't notice a decline in the second half. I thought, I mean, it's a little it's usually a little uneven from Trump. I thought that was kind of consistent. I thought the consistency is pretty much maintained. I mean, there's always a couple of spikes, a couple of drops, but um, neither candidate seems to thrill. Yeah, we'll come back to that at the end here, probably shortly. I think this is just going to reinforce what everybody already thinks about their side, pretty much. Now, there's a few persuadable voters in the middle that wanted to know more about Harris. I think she had more to prove. I don't know how much this one is going to move the needle. Trump needs to work on his way of responding to accusation. He doesn't know how to build up a narrative. Yeah, he does take bait, and he does. That I agree with that. He usually doesn't do well with that kind of stuff. Um, it's not anything new, so. But he has had pretty much restraint. A lot of times he's just sitting there and he's not saying anything. Between questions, he tries to get in a little bit more sometimes, but there hasn't been a lot of trying to talk over each other. Harris did it once or twice. Trump called her out on that. Trump did it a little bit. All right, so here we are with the closing statements. So let's wrap this one up. All right, well, that wraps up the debate. All right, so now we've got all the fallout. So we're done. So what did everybody think of that debate? Let's get into the analysis. And by the way, we did hit 4,000 subscribers. So congrats to everybody on that. Really do appreciate hitting 4K. It's good that we were finally able to get there. Um, I got a poll up here. I think I do. I actually, not even sure if it's coming up. But anyway, all right. So we're all set here. So that's the debate. Now let's see what we've got for some fallout here. Let's see. What do people have to say? Debate was over, no handshake. Harris puts Trump on defensive in fierce debate. Okay. I think ultimately this debate is going to be. I think both sides are going to dig in. That's what I think. I think Trump did kind of what he always does, what we expect. He takes bait, and sometimes he goes off on some tangents. And Harris came out totally different from Biden. So that's refreshing in a sense for people who are looking for somebody other than Biden. And she got passionate about some stuff. Maybe some people might think there was too much passion, if that's a thing, if that makes sense. Maybe you don't think that makes sense. But there's a couple of little moments here again. Trump talking about the dogs being eaten, or the pets, or whatever it was. There was a moment where he told Harris to be quiet. Please be quiet, or quiet, please. I think it was. And Harris tried to start another thing with the moderators, and they cut her off. Trump went at it with the moderators a couple of times, and, Trump looks like he's hunched over a little bit. I think a little bit. I mean, he's getting up there, not too much, but just a little bit. Harris, I have always said, I don't know why her eyes tend to seem like they're just watering, or there's some kind of glistening or something. Like she was cutting an onion or something. So there's that. Um, I think, I know we've seen Trump in so many debates. This was really nothing we haven't seen. He showed enough restraint for the most part. He went at it with the moderators a couple of times, and he tried to get some more stuff in. They cut him off a couple of times. Harris, a little bit too. And if you're looking for Harris, if you're not familiar with her, if you're looking for your first taste of what she's about, I think you would say that she had energy. That's true, and she came up with, I think, enough answers on different topics. The downside on her side, I think, is going to be, or at least I should say, the biggest downside, as I see it, is that she is the party in power. And I mean, yeah, not that long ago, we were hearing Biden is great. He's staying in the race. And before that, we were hearing he's super sharp. There's no reason to think otherwise. So here we are now. He's out of it. And they're the party in power. And generally, there's a lot of issues that people are not satisfied with the way things are going. So for her to try to defend the party in power, that's an uphill climb. Now, she had to defend some of her views that she's changed her policy positions on. Some of that she did okay on. Some of that she didn't really answer. Trump also didn't answer some stuff on the Ukraine question. and the abortion question. Harris also, I think, avoided the restrictions part on the far end. I think there's always these questions these politicians don't want to answer for whatever reason. So, how do you want to look at it? I bet the Harris camp is saying, oh, this was a total success. And I bet the Trump camp is also thinking this was a success. There was no total wipeout moments. There's a couple of things that are going to get replayed, but there was nothing that was a major wipeout. I don't think there was anything like massively notable. Harris threw in the laugh, I think, once. I think that might have been when Trump was talking about the eating dogs thing. That's probably the most notable moment, but there was a few other moderately notable ones. And did this poll actually come up? I tried to put it up. It didn't look like it actually went through. So can anybody confirm if this poll is actually up? Let's see. What have we got here? The spin Trump surrogates are complaining about the moderators, a poor performance by the moderators, said Vivek Ramaswamy. 3-on-1 debate. There were a couple of moments where the moderators did try to correct something Trump said. I pointed that out before. It's a little. That is a little weird. I guess if you're. Again, I think that's a split reaction. Some people are going to say this is fantastic. They corrected something. And other people are going to say, no, they shouldn't correct really anything. I think one mistake I think Trump mentioned earlier, I guess is probably not a big deal at this point, but he said the governor of West Virginia. That was earlier on. He meant Virginia. When he brought it up later, he changed it to Virginia when he was talking about the late-term abortions. So I thought that was a mistake. Harris bringing up the Charlottesville thing, stuff like that. I think that's a dud. There's a bunch of little things you could go on about. This poll, what are actually the results here? I can't even see it. I can't even close this poll. For whatever reason, it's like I can't even see my own poll. There it is. I've got it now. I had to close and reopen, but I got it. So we've got 17 votes. We've got Harris 53, Trump 24. And another 24 for neither. So I think Harris did have more to prove here. And again, if you're going to compare her to Biden or you're going to compare her to being unknown, I think she probably succeeded enough there. And I think she did have better prepared responses. You could say that's more of like a politician would have. The responses are better prepared. Of course, she dodged some questions too. There's no question about that. But I think Harris is going to do weaker when it's a totally unscripted and a more of a interaction where there's just going to be unpredictability. And this, she knew she's going to have some lines about several of these topics, and she probably conducted herself well enough. And some voters who don't really know what she's all about, they might find that to be satisfying enough, or they might find her to be not what they're looking for. Again, her presentation, I don't know how well that lands. Now, if you like her, you're thinking it's great and there's nothing to think about. But I don't know how well that presentation connects. Trump's been out there so often. Trump does, I think, have more command in terms of his presence. And of course, if you hate Trump, you think that it's off-putting, and if you like him, you're thinking that he's a strong leader, etc. Let's see. what have we got here? And there was talk about, yeah, her changing positions, and I think Trump tried to say that she changed everything, and he also tried to say she's way, way too far to the left. So he kind of went back and forth on that. I suppose either one would be undesirable if you're Harris, to say that you've changed or you're way too far to the left. But I think Trump had a hard time deciding if she flip-flopped or if she's just too far to the left. Maybe they both land. I don't know. Um, okay, let's see. What is this? Before the debate, Trump, who is at least 6 feet tall, posted on his social media site that boxes or lifts shouldn't be allowed. Nothing that could make Harris seem any taller than 5'4" that she is. But if he hoped their height disparity would help him, he might be disappointed. Much of what the viewers saw tonight was a split screen. Okay. Personally, I don't care about anybody's height. That's nothing for me. Maybe psychologically, subconsciously, some people care about that. Oh yeah, thanks for the results. I was able to get it now, but okay. All right, Swayer, going to sleep now. Thanks for the stream. 4 a.m. in the UK. Okay, yeah, hope you had a nice time. Again, sorry we didn't really have the audio and the video up. It kind of sucks, but appreciate everybody, sticking it out here. So Swinger will see, I'm sure we'll see in the comments in the near future. And, if nothing else, election night, I'm sure we'll be seeing you. Well, you already got a lot of my analysis now. You heard some of the thoughts. The rest of it is going to be seeing what the fallout is from snap polls and such. As much as I do the politics, I'm not huge on overly analyzing debates. I do find it to be a little tedious in my opinion. But I try to do a little bit for the channel. Let's see. I think this is a little bit much. Let's see. Then spent 90 minutes making every effort to burrow under his skin. I mean, that happens in every debate. Trump takes bait, but I think she had a number of times where she had to defend herself. She's the party in power. People don't know who she is. I thought that she had to do that as well. I don't think this was all about Trump being on the defensive. But everybody's gonna have whatever take they're gonna have. How much is this gonna move the needle? Probably very little, unless there was something catastrophic. I don't know. Because if you're for one side or the other, you might have a totally different take from it. Even if you see a snap poll or whatever, you just don't know how it's going to change actually in a week or two when all the fallout starts actually happening with the polling and such. Let's see. Crazy cows. You just got here. No win debate. You stopped watching. Just annoying. Okay, well, why did you stop watching? And how far in did you get? Did you get 15 minutes in, or did you get like an hour, more than an hour in? You think this would definitely boost Kamala? Okay. I what to what extent? What does that mean? That means she's going to open up a 5 point lead in the popular vote, or what? We're talking about a half a point in a couple of key states. Are the people in the chat women for Harris voters? There's going to be, I might be a mix. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how many people we've got in here at this point now. 13? Yeah, this. I knew it would be a little disappointing doing a chat or a stream without the audio and the video again. Like a month ago, we had like 230 people on the stream. This time, way less again. Trump did better. It's almost impossible to talk about a debate that wasn't extremely notable, like the last one with Biden. In any debate, it's just going to be so polarized. You can see what you want to see. You can make a case that Harris did really well. You can make a case that she didn't. You can make a case that Trump was strong and commanding and stayed on task. Very little deviation from him. Or you can make a case that he wiped out. It's all what you want to see. That's like a lot of things in politics. You can look at the exact same thing and have a totally different result. Um, but how much is it going to move the needle? I don't know. Here's what I would say. I would say that, again, Harris had more to prove here. She proved herself, I think, adequately. But Trump did not wipe out at all. So does that cancel it out? I would say that I would also say that if Trump was in power right now, or if this was um, a completely open seat where it wasn't Biden or Harris on the ticket, then I could see that advantaging Harris. If Trump was in power right now and there was a lot of dissatisfaction out there, I could see people saying Harris might be something different, that might be an alternative. But given that she is in power, I can see a lot of people saying they're just not satisfied with their conditions of their lives. And they're not necessarily caring that it's Harris or Trump. They're just want some channel 2 3 weeks. Sometimes that's when things move. I've been telling people for all year, wait until we get further in. There's no point in looking at the polls 5 months ago or a month ago or even today. There's a glance at them, but things can change. We've seen it a ton. There's late movement sometimes, or maybe there's not any movement this time. Maybe everything stays exactly the same for the next 7 to 8 weeks. Let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, they're doing some fact checking here. Um, a couple of hearts coming in. That's nice. That's always good. Okay. Half a point in key states and guarantee Nevada and Arizona. Okay, gotcha. Harris did not dominate, but did pretty good to the point she potentially flipped North Carolina. I know North Carolina, that I was looking at the polling in 20 on that again, and it did look like Biden was going to get it. It the last couple of months, but didn't happen. So I don't know. Um, Primal B, you're back at it. Okay, good to see you here. My thoughts, I just kind of went through a bunch of different thoughts. I'll probably get a video out. I'll try to get a video out tomorrow, and it's not going to be a lengthy, in-depth analysis. The most memorable moment, though, I think was probably there wasn't like any massive, over-the-top notability, but the one that sticks out to me is when Trump was mentioning the migrants eating dogs or pets or whatever the exact quote was. That's probably the most notable. That might be the moment Harris, and maybe it was a different one where Harris did break out the laugh for a couple of seconds. That seems to be the most notable. She is Biden. Okay, that was toward the end. Yeah, that could be something. But overall, I think both sides are going to just dig in, and Harris had more to prove. She probably did acceptable, I would say. Trump kind of did what he always does. He takes the bait a little bit too often, but he did have a lot of restraint. Harris, her eyes tend to water. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's going to affect the reception of her with any kind of independence. But she had passion. Sometimes she maybe got too passionate. I think she had a lot of prepared remarks that she delivered well enough. But when there's, I think, off the cuff, I think that's going to be something like we want to see her do more spontaneous interviews and more where she can get on the ground floor and interact with voters and not seem so scripted. When she's scripted, I think she was able to deliver. Trump goes all over the place sometimes, and I know when they were talking about immigration, he went and started talking about student loan forgiveness. I thought that was a weird tangent. There was another moment where he told Harris, "Quiet, please." She started talking when he was in the middle of his time. Maybe that's a big moment. I don't know. The debate moderators went and corrected Trump at least a couple of times. Now, you either think that's great or you don't, but that's another thing to point out. Harris tried to get in a word at one point toward the end, and the debate moderators cut her off. That was something else. He mentioned he'd have to wake Biden up, get him out of bed at 4 o'clock or something like that. There was a few lines that, had some moderate notability, but I don't know if there were a ton of standout moments. Trump looked a little bit, almost like a little bit hunched over, in my opinion. Slightly tired, but nothing too terrible. So Harris did have more to prove. I think she probably did it enough, but her authenticity, I don't know how much that's going to land. Again, if you like her, you think that it was phenomenal. If you like Trump, you think he did pretty good. Probably have some issues, maybe with the debate moderators correcting him a couple of times. Now, Harris did have to deal with correcting or explaining her policy position changes a couple of times. And I don't think she really answered that well enough. That could be an issue. Trump, I don't think, did a great job on abortion. And I don't think Harris did better on that topic, but because Trump did not answer the question about would he veto a national abortion ban. He did not answer that. I thought that was weak. I don't think she answered the late-term abortion stuff. And Trump didn't answer the other question about does he want Ukraine to win the war? He didn't answer that. He just said he wants the war to end. I mean, just answer the question. But with healthcare, that's a topic. I don't think either of them gave good answers. I think Trump was a little weaker where he said he has concepts of plans or something after 9 years. That's weak. But Harris, she doesn't want to sound too progressive. She doesn't want to just say, no, we're going to guarantee everybody, or at least every citizen, we're going to get them the public option or whatever it takes. She tried to probably hedge on being too progressive on that issue. And immigration, I think Trump uses a lot of hyperbole. I think he goes over the top when he characterizes immigration, but that's going to be a stronger issue for him. And I think they asked Harris what they would, why 6 months before an election is when Biden tried to put out the executive orders, something like that. And then she just pivoted to Trump killing that border bill. And I don't think she answered that question. I think that Biden getting into office, making executive orders on immigration right away, that reversing Trump's policies, I think that set the stage for immigration being a negative issue for this administration. So there's a few different things there. Um, Trump had some restraint for the most part. A couple times he tried to get some more in, and he did a couple of times. Let's see, what have we got here? Taylor Swift endorses Harris in Instagram post. Okay. I don't know what that does that do anything? Maybe I'm totally out of the loop on this kind of stuff. Maybe that's massive, but I already thought she was already on in her camp, on her side. That's what I already thought. But making it official, is that is that a big mover? Or does that alienate anybody? Or does that just tell everybody what they already thought? Let's see. Uh, okay. Uh, okay. Haitian migrants. All right, Wasp, you're taken out. You're taking off. All right, well, if you're taking off, have a great day. We're probably gonna be ramping it up here pretty soon myself. Here's Dodge at the beginning on about better or worse. Yeah, that is true. That was at the very beginning. She did dodge on that. I agree with you. Kevin, you're taking off too. Everybody's taking off. Well, have a good night though. Either way, sure we'll see you on the election. If nothing else, Trump dodged. Roger, that is another dodge. Yeah, I pointed that out during the stream, even though it wasn't actually playing. He did dodge on that. He dodged on those three. I agree with you. Um, yeah, Harris and Swift. Usually the Democrats rack up the celebrity endorsements. Trump dodged a lot. Yeah, Trump did dodge on those issues. That's good. Yep, I remember most of that. But yeah, he dodged, and but Trump looked like himself for the most part. He was paying attention, and he did make that one mistake. I mentioned it a couple of times where when he was talking about late term abortion, he mentioned at the beginning the governor of West Virginia. He said it a couple times, and he meant Virginia. Later on, he did correctly say Virginia, but the first time he said West Virginia. Not a huge deal, but that stood out to me. So whatever we're going to look at on the polls again, I don't know how much it matters. Of course, at some point it's got to matter, but I want to get into October. I want to get into October, probably mid-October. Then I'm going to actually be seeing what the polls have to say. But again, maybe they have Trump up 2 points and it's wrong. Maybe they have Harris up 3 points and that's wrong. Who knows? I don't know. There's enough data there that every side is going to have their own narrative and they're going to cling to it. That's just where we're at this point. Will there be a second debate? That's a good question. I guess it's probably 50-50. There could be. I would think there should be. I mean, let's get at least two in there. You're honestly surprised Swift endorsed Harris at all since she has been kind of avoiding politics. It does seem weird to do an endorsement now, but I guess I don't know. You know, that her endorsement, it's not, maybe I'm totally out of it. And that's a total game changer. Let's see. So she got under Trump's skin. It happened a few times. That's true. But he made some remarks that she had to try to defend as well. Um, Central theme of moving forward, turning the page. Turning the page, that part again. She's the party in power. She's in the administration. You don't want to turn that page too much now, do you? I mean, if Pence was running after Trump and he says he wants to turn the page, it's like, well, you're in there already. Let's see. And you know, Trump actually did not bring up Biden that much. I think they should have spent more time or any time talking about Biden and how he's actually still in office, even though we might even forget about that to an extent. But it wasn't that long ago. We were hearing that Biden is super sharp. He's sharp as a tack. You can't question any of that. It was just total defensiveness. And now he's out of there because he was not up to the task. And I think that should be discussed because there was a vigorous defense of that right before this. And I think that's a big deal. And Trump brought up Biden a couple of times. It wasn't heavy duty. But I think it's not unfair to have those two together in some sense, given that they're on the same ticket, at least while they're in office. Okay. Yeah, Harris dodged on late term. Everybody dodges on the abortion stuff. It's so pathetic. I really hate seeing each side dodge on it. Can anybody just say they're good with it at this point and they're not okay with it at this point? Yeah, turning the page on Trump, I, I guess, but he's already not in office. That page is already turned. That's what happened after 2020. Now it's turned. So I don't know. That's how I saw that one. Well, yeah, the moderators went after Trump a couple of times. I think. I mean, again, if you're either going to say that's great, they called him out on a couple of times where they needed to, or you're going to say they should have not done anything. There was bias. We're never going to get anywhere on these kinds of topics. But I get it. Red Legion. Wow. You just show up, or did I miss you the whole time? You don't think the debate will move the needle? Yeah, and if it, even if it does, is it going to stay moved? I mean, politics are fluid and fleeting. Again, I don't want to really spend too much, I don't want to put too much focus on polling or fallout. I'm going to wait October, mid October, maybe even late October. And then I'm sure the polling's probably going to be close, but I want to see if there's any late movement that's going to happen once we get into October. We've seen it sometimes in other years. Got to see if that happens. Just got here. All right. Well, good to see some other people showing up here. I like Kennedy for endorsing Trump and telling his supporters to vote Trump. Kennedy is good. Yeah, that, I mean, almost everything seems like old news at this point. I mean, this debate in a week, week and a half is probably going to seem like it's outdated. They did interrupt Trump more. I thought they also asked Harris difficult questions too. It did push past her as well. They did go after her a little bit. It wasn't, they didn't totally cozy up to her. I agree with that. And I think when either of these people gets pushed, they don't deliver the goods. Usually when they're getting pushed, it's because they won't answer something, and when they're pushed, they end up not really answering it. All right, so we've got 49 votes, Harris 47, Trump 35, neither 18. So, I mean, according to this, it's a slight edge for Harris. Just a bit of an edge, but not overwhelming. Actually, the poll I had after the Biden Trump debate, that one, I think, well, in the end, Trump had won that one, but I think for a while, it wasn't overwhelming. But we'll have to see the snap polls. The snap polls, everybody's going to make a big deal out of that. Harris owns a handgun. Okay. Um, oh, yeah, then I think, yeah, Harris talked about the endorsement, or maybe she got asked about the endorsement from the Cheneys. She must have brought that up. Yeah, that, I don't think that's that great of endorsement to bring up, but who knows? A lot of 1 week cycles, yeah. Well, look, I mean, I always tell people think back on 16. 16 and 2020 was crazy because the pandemic, Trump was in office, and there was a lot of uncertainty with the pandemic and all the shutdowns, the lockdowns, and what's going to happen with all that. And Trump was taking a beating in the polling. Now, back in 16, it was the Democrats in office. Trump was change, and he was a loose cannon back then as well. And his polling looked pretty weak. It did not look good. People were talking about states flipping that were red. I remember Kansas might have been in the conversation at one point. Could that possibly flip? Could that get close? And the blue wall, the Rust Belt, that wasn't even on the radar. Not really. Trump will say that they saw they were going to win from their internals or whatever, but most people, the polling looked like, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, those were like off the table. 5+ points for Hillary. And the polling showed that. The polling showed that. You look at all the predictors, Cook and Larry Sabato and 538. it was not a tilt toward Hillary. It wasn't. It was like a likely or likely to safe for Hillary. Now that definitely might not happen next time. It could underestimate Harris, but there's just so much there that people have been wrong by over the past couple of major elections. So I'm open to anything happening. I'm opening there for there to be underestimation on either side. And I know in 16 and in 20, Trump has been underestimated. So I think there's a more likelihood he'll be underestimated at least slightly. Maybe it's only a half a point in the polling. Maybe it's more significant. Maybe it's 2 points in some states. Maybe it's 3 points. But then Democrats will come back and say, no, no, no. In special elections, they overperformed. And after abortion, they're energized. Maybe that's true. Maybe people are done with Trump. I think if Harris wins, it's not going to be because they like Harris. It's going to be because they just don't want to deal with Trump again. Because the direction of the country looks like it's headed in the wrong direction. I think that's pretty clear. And it's not like it's 52-48. It's overwhelming that the direction of the country is not satisfying. And sometimes people want change. And in 22 also, yeah, Republicans did underperform in the red wave, except for Florida. And in New York, they got some House seats there. But also North Carolina, the Senate race, and the state Supreme Court. Republicans flipping that court there. So that abortion decision didn't have any, or if it had an effect, it wasn't enough to flip. And then even in Wisconsin, with Ron Johnson in the Senate, he's not very well liked and he's polarizing. After the abortion decision in a key state that has a lot of blue in it, Ron Johnson won in the Senate. So who knows what's going to happen? There's so much there that you could focus on for either side. And that 16 election, it looked like it looked like he was going to get embarrassed. And people wrote him off. They said, don't even think about it. I remember Nancy Pelosi saying, take it to the bank. Trump is not going to be president. And obviously she's just going to project confidence because she's on the other team, but you really never know what's going to happen. And that red wave in 22, yeah, Democrats are going to point to that. And why wouldn't they? Now, if that Supreme Court abortion decision never happened, then what? Does that mean Republicans would have had a lot better night? And then Democrats they'd be furious, right? Because they would have had potentially a wipeout. So are they glad that that Supreme Court decision probably motivated Democrats to turn out and limit the damage? Okay. In 2008, many people did not know if the Republicans could recover, but in 10 they swept. And if that is a good point. It looked like after Bush, how he squeaked it out in '04. Democrats have a great night in '06. Then Obama has a great night in 2008, and it did look like Republicans were done. But then, yeah, they have a massive, massive wave in 10. And it's the same thing back. It's similar in the 80s where Reagan wins 2 terms. He wins that landslide in 84. And then George H.W. Bush, he makes it 3 straight. He has a great night as well in 88. And people were wondering, are the Democrats finished? But then Bill Clinton comes along in 92. There's so much there. It always changes. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but that pendulum swings back and forth. October surprise. Uh, in an inflation report, I don't know how big of a deal that's gonna be. I mean, if the inflation is zero, are people gonna go, well, okay, I don't really care about the last 3 years now. I think they're gonna say they've lost tons and tons of money. And it doesn't matter what the stock market is, it doesn't matter what the unemployment rate is. They're tired of going to get something to eat and spending 20, 30% more than they did. Yeah, Trump did not expect to win. Watched the whole debate. Honestly, I forgot about it. I think a lot of people are feeling the same. Well, we'll see. There's always going to be the quick reactions, the gut reaction takes. Uh, let's see. Um, Trump just came back to the spin room and said he thought it was the best debate ever. Man, that is pure Trump right there. Pure hyperbole. He said he thought the moderators were very unfair and claimed Harris wants a second debate because she lost very badly. All right. Yeah, that's not a very. Trump is not polished. We'll just put it that way. He puts it really in an unpolished way. It's crude, and I mean I get why people don't care about. They're not into that style of speaking. It is kind of lame, but I don't think people are voting for him for his style of speaking. They're voting for change. They're going to vote for at least one or two of the policies, even if they don't care about the rest. They might just want one, two, maybe three policies. Or maybe they're just not a fan of the other side. People vote against Trump. People are going to vote against Harris. Overconfidence does in both parties. All right, in the 1920s, many Democrats thought the party was done. Yeah, there's a lot of historical examples where it looked like that's it. But it changes. You don't think that's the correct takeaway? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. It's the same thing in 16. Martha Raddatz, Anderson Cooper. All right. Concept of a plan is a policy. Yeah, I would think, yeah, Trump didn't deliver the goods on a healthcare plan. I thought even if he got asked a second time, I thought he would at least thrown something out there. And I know in the past he said we're going to get rid of the state lines so you can cross states to get your plan. I thought he would have mentioned that, but he did at the very end. He said we're going to put it out very shortly or something like that. So he's apparently got something in the works. I don't think either of them are really satisfying on healthcare. People just they want to know they've got the healthcare no matter their situation. They want it guaranteed, and then they want to get the costs down, and hopefully the quality not in the toilet. But so many people don't want to have to deal with the current system. Everybody's figured out how to kind of work with the system a little bit, but so many people are just they're tired of the system. That the for-profit healthcare industry and so on. Oh, you don't think the okay, the correct takeaway was best debate. Yeah, I think we can agree with that. In the works for over years. Yeah, I know he should have had something better than that. Uh, yeah, I think there's a limit to how well Harris could do. I think the big thing is I've said it before multiple times because she's the party in power. Back in 20, it's easy comparison, I think. During COVID, a lot of uncertainty, huge deal before the vaccine, after the lockdowns, and also there was the rioting and all that. A lot of people, I mean, Trump almost won, but during that whole time, and Trump had a little bit of a weak debate performance talking over Biden back then, but voters were enough voters in enough states said they want something different. And it didn't matter what Trump was going to say exactly. There wasn't going to be a lot of movement because people, not a lot of people, but enough people were saying they don't want to keep going in that direction. They want something a little bit different. It's kind of what I think is going on now. Even if Harris gave the best performance of all time, unless Trump totally wiped out, I think there's still going to be a lot of voters who are saying, hey, I want something different. Even if they kind of like Harris, they might say, it's just not working for me. They're, they've taken on so much debt over the past few years. They've taken on tons of debt and they've seen the nation become so divided. And they want something different. They want something really different. And they might not like Trump, but he's something different. So that's how I kind of see it. Trump came into the spin room flocked by advisors about an hour after an hour after the debate. Has it already been an hour? Sworn by the press, taking attention away from the dozen or so Biden surrogates in the room. He insisted repeatedly that this was his best debate performance, better than one ultimately led Biden to exit the race. Okay. Yeah, Trump can't resist taking debate. I mean, everybody feels a natural urge to defend something that's mischaracterized. I think we can all understand that. But some of it is just going to be so obvious, taking the bait on some of this stuff. I don't think he took it every time, but of course he did take it enough times. They can't admit mistakes. They think they have the right. They have to be right in every issue, and the opponent always has to be the worst. Yep, that's swampy politics right there. Mudslinging. It's all hypocritical, and pretty much everybody loses. And by everybody, I mean the American people. If Trump went full Hawley, he would probably sweep the Rust Belt, maybe even Minnesota. It depends. I mean, I'm sure Hawley's gonna have some stuff that would be too unpalatable. Probably abortion. I don't know what Hawley's current opinion is on abortion, but you know that popular position is going to be not overwhelmingly restrictions, a lack of a lack of restrictions. Would have liked to see Harris admit that many people aren't doing great financially, and Trump to admit more wrongdoing around January 6th. Yeah, I agree that there are Harris and Biden, anybody in power there should admit that we've lost hundreds, thousands of dollars over the past 3 years. And some wages have gone up, but there's so many people who haven't gotten raises. They're working multiple jobs, more hours, and they've taken on more debt. And they're just tired of trying to go out to get something to eat and it's spending an extra $1.50. And that adds up. Every meal, an extra buck or two. That adds up. Energy prices, insurance, all that stuff. It's killing us, and metaphorically, or at least a lot of people. And the January 6th, yeah, Trump doesn't have some great answers on that. I don't know how much that matters to the average voter or undecided. It was a while ago. I know that's something more so Trump doesn't have great answers for. He doesn't really want to talk about it a ton. The media does want to talk about it more. I don't know how much staying power it has at this point. Uh, okay, candidates like going to the spin room is typically a bad sign. Okay, I was unaware of that. If personally think Harris should be completely distance herself from Biden. Yeah, I don't know if you completely distance yourself. I mean, she's in the administration though. I don't know how you completely do that. Let's see. When did he not take it? The debate. There was a few times where probably he at least held off. He did not try to interrupt most of the time, but he took it enough times on the 400 million from his dad or whatever it was. But I don't think he took it every single time. Hawley mostly focuses on economics and immigration. Yeah, that would be a probably a beneficial path to take. Um, I mean, usually I tend to think populist economics on the left and populist cultural issues on the right are probably the most ideal combination for to win over most voters. Okay, well, I think we've been going at it for a while here, over 3 hours. So probably going to be winding it down here pretty soon. Um, so 52 for Harris, 30 for Trump, 18 for neither, 66 votes. So we got this poll here for about an hour. And I think we're probably going to close this poll out. And good stuff. So 21-point edge there for Harris. I'm sure there's some snap polls up on Twitter or X or whatever. I'm sure CNN has the swing voters from Pennsylvania in there, and they're gonna see what they've got have to say. I'm guessing it's not gonna be a wipeout or either side. It'd be hard for me to imagine that undecided voters say that Trump was totally bad and Harris was so good, or that Harris was so bad and Trump was so good. I would guess it'd be somewhat toward the middle, but Harris seemed to bring out the prosecutor. Yeah, she was passionate, had some energy for sure. And can voters trust her? Do they view her as authentic? Do they view her as having integrity? Or do they view her as just being an opportunist? and changing her positions. And again, I do wonder. Maybe I should look this up. Is it just me, or does it? Or Harris's eyes? Do they look like they're just watering way more than average? And I don't mean tonight. I mean almost every time I see it. That's something that always stuck out to me for a while. And I don't know how else to describe it. But I just always seemed like this watering or something going on there. I don't know if I don't know if it was just me. I haven't really looked into it. Do you think if Trump didn't decide to run for election and pass the torch to Hawley, but everything stayed the same, including running mate, do you think he'll win or do better than Trump? Oh, wait, we're talking about in 2020? If he did not decide to run for re-election and Hawley ran in 20 and Hawley had Pence as the running mate, that's uh, I don't know. It's way too hypothetical because a lot of people have no clue who Josh Hawley is. I don't know how he would do. He's got some of the populism on the right side, but Trump has he's so well known that it's hard for me to think that Hawley would have done better than Trump. I don't know. Results are interesting. Okay, just noticed how much her eye watered during the debate. Okay, I've noticed that almost every time. It always stood out to me. Yeah, Hawley and Pence. I think in 20, they probably would not have won because again during COVID, voters wanted a change, and even though Biden is like pure establishment, I don't think Hawley probably would not have been able to beat him. But again, it's just way too hypothetical. Oh, Hawley in 24. So wait a minute. So it's Hawley running with Vance now, and Trump is out of the picture. Um, yeah, I think they could have a shot at it for sure. But again, it's so hypothetical. They'd have to get their name ID up. They'd have to mount a campaign. I could see them doing it, but again, it's very hypothetical. Tons of orange makeup on, bouffant hairdo. Um, at Trump's eyes, I did see water a little bit, but I the thing about Harris, I've always noticed that like for years, and I've always wondered why that is. And it's hard to bring it up without sounding indelicate about it, but I just don't really see that with other people. His ears seem fine. Well, I mean, I think enough time probably went by that the grazing had healed up enough. And again, there could have maybe if there was a little bit left, there could be a little bit of makeup to cover up the little bit at the end. In the last debate, Ground News also did polls. 64% said Trump would win after tonight. 62% think Harris would win. Just shows you what's going on in politics. It's all over the place. It all could pan out. It all might not. Unless somebody's pretty much over 80% this time. I don't even know if 80 would cut it. What happened in 16? Wasn't Hillary probably around? Some people said 90 whatever percent chance, but a lot of people were in the 70 to 80% range that Hillary was going to get it. She didn't get it. 39% say Harris more positively. Okay. Yeah, I mean, people have just started to pay attention to Harris probably in the past week or two. There was that big boost after she became the nominee or presumptive nominee and then the nominee. And then the last week or two, people want to know a little bit more about her. And I guess there's been a lot of video over some changing positions. Now, is that going to last? Maybe. That could come back to hurt her. The authenticity thing could be an issue. Again, she was very unpopular just a couple of months ago, less than Biden. So it's not unreasonable, in my opinion, to think that a spike in popularity would be unsustainable. 71% say the opinions haven't changed. Okay. Debate was really bad for Trump. He did drop in polling, but there was still 3 weeks to go. Election day. Oh, third debate. Sorry. What do you do? A hypothetical? That kind of ties into the poll I have on the community tab today about how many weeks of early voting do you want to be seeing? And that's why sometimes if people do vote too early, there could be something that happens in mid-October and they already voted. Hypothetical between the main candidate and VP. The main candidate? What, Trump and Vance? I'm not sure I follow. I'm going to have to wind this down pretty soon, though, just momentarily. But also, again, congrats. We hit 4K on the subs. Finally got over that hump of 4,000, but now we've got to get to 5. And after we get to 5, it's not the end of the road either. We've got to get that up to 10. But over 1,000 videos, 2.5 years of content. The third debate in 16. Okay. I I have to try to recall which of those debates was which. I know the second one was the after the Access Hollywood tape. Yeah, there should be a debate. I think October 1st between Vance and Walls, if that happens. Yeah, it said earlier, like before the stream, I was just under, but it rounds it up to 4K if they don't show any other digits. And now it is 4, unless it went down. I looked a half hour ago and it was over 4. So again, yeah, big time moment here. 4K. Honestly, I think we should probably be at 8 or more K because again, 2.5 years of videos, over 1,000 videos. Uh, yeah, Walls and Vance do have some animosity. Okay, Chris Wallace in Las Vegas should have won the Emmy. Yeah, I mean Trump. Yeah, this Trump's been doing this forever. He talks about some stuff that is totally pointless that nobody cares about. Sometimes it's entertaining and it's hilarious. Other times it's just like off-putting to go on some weird tangent. And he does come off as subject to flattery. Harris pointed that out, and there are some flaws there. There's some narcissism. You prefer Hawley over Vance for VP. Youngkin. Yeah, I thought Harris would have won for Shapiro or Kelly. I didn't think Bashir, but I thought Shapiro or Kelly. Walls, I think I did a video on the tier ranking. I think I had Walls in the C tier. I thought that would have been okay, not too likely, but she went for Walls and Trump. I did think I was leaning toward him also going for Youngkin. It probably would have been a pick to give him a better chance to win. But Hawley as VP, Hawley, I'm not so sure how much charisma or how personable he is. I mean, I've seen him, but as far as broadening the coalition, I don't know if Hawley has the right kind of personality. Maybe I'm wrong. Youngkin and Shapiro would have been both better choices. Yeah, that I agree with. That there's no question about that. That might have just canceled. They might have canceled each other out if it was Shapiro and Youngkin. Shapiro too much of a careerist. Okay, Roy Cooper didn't know how he would have. Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, that's another interesting one. But Cooper is just. I think he's probably just mild. Maybe that kind of moderate Democrat reputation would have completed the ticket. Maybe North Carolina could have flipped, but I don't know how much that's going to help in the Rust Belt. But then again, Walls, I don't know how much he's going to do either. Yeah, Youngkin would have been a good choice for Trump. Zeldin may have been a decent choice. Yeah, I think Zeldin. I think you probably should pick somebody higher profile, somebody with a statewide win. Vance, I think, just got in there, not even 2 years ago. So I think that it was a little fresh. Um, okay. You have a bias toward moderates. Okay. Gotcha. Let's see. Any updates here? All right, let's see. Harris ready for her second debate. Is Trump indicated he would think about that, but she wants a second debate because she lost very badly. When you're a prize fighter and you lose, you immediately want a new fight. It's hard for me to imagine Harris thinking she totally lost that. But yeah, Trump projecting full confidence. That's pretty much, I guess, what politicians do. Yeah, I don't know how much Shapiro would have done in the end, but I think it's hard to not give Shapiro like an extra half a point to the ticket, and that could flip PA. Twitter is melting down. Um, okay, in what way? I mean, are they saying that I don't think anybody would be shocked that she would support Harris? What they're saying that I don't know how much that's going to matter. You know, Twitter is Twitter, X is X, whatever. How much does that matter? Who cares, really, in my opinion? some people are probably going to go, okay, now I will vote for Harris because she said so. And other people are probably going to not care at all. Most people aren't going to care at all. And there'll be a few people who are going to say, okay, I don't think she should have endorsed anybody, or she should have endorsed Trump. I'm going to not support Swift or Harris. You're going to get a little bit of everything. I don't think it really matters. I don't think anybody's going to be talking about in a week Taylor Swift's endorsement. Did she endorse Biden last time? Vance, a lot narrower than expected against Tim Ryan. That I don't think I would characterize it like that. That race, I think I had it as likely Republican the entire election season. I know early on people didn't know Vance. He had to get through a primary, and people did know Tim Ryan. And some of the polling showed Tim Ryan ahead, but I thought by the end Vance was going to win by at least 5, and he did. It was a little closer, but it was also an open seat. And again, Tim Ryan from Northeast Ohio, he had a reputation. He should have been a strong candidate. Vance had a competitive primary to get through, and he still won by over 5. So maybe a little narrow, a little bit narrower when you think about it, but I guess when you consider it's Tim Ryan and the open seat and the competitive primary, uh, I wouldn't say it was overwhelmingly a wide margin. Or, excuse me, a narrow margin. Yeah, it's getting a little late here. I do wind this down here pretty soon. Walz and Vance are the same people, different parties and policies. Are both moderately close states, popular among the base. Yeah, if you can combine the economics, not all of it, but let's just say most of the economics of Walz and most of the cultural of Vance, you're probably going to have a candidate a lot of people are going to think is common sense, and they would be into that. But both sides have some stuff that the other side is going to find a little toxic on some of the issues. Okay, you agree. Doesn't matter, not surprising that Swift endorsed. Silly, but also funny to see people freaking out. She did endorse Biden in 20, yeah. In a line, the art of the deal. In a line in the art of the deal about everything you got, the best, or the other guy is the worst. Yeah, there's survival of the fittest. I guess that's the kind of mentality. Yeah, Biden won. Yeah, Trump was in power. Again, COVID, a lot of dissatisfaction, and Trump barely lost. So I don't know what's going on. The national polling, I'm gonna, unless Harris is leading consistently by over 3 in the aggregate, maybe even 4, I would think it's Trump is totally in this thing. Another member. We do have a new member. Election polling official. 2 back to back. Good stuff. Who do you think won? Oh man, I'm gonna have to do a video about this. I'm gonna keep it brief in the video too because I've gone over it and over it. I think both sides are gonna think they performed well. I don't think there was any big wipeout moments. I think Harris had more to prove, and she did an acceptable job. I don't think Trump wiped out. There's all little moments with the pet eating, the dog eating, whatever, and a couple of the moments where Trump got corrected by the moderator, and he told Harris to quiet, please, and questions were dodged on abortion, immigration, Ukraine, January 6th. All that's true. Harris had to try to defend her flip flopping on some policy issues. So I think it's kind of a wash. Harris looked like she was fired up more. Again, I think I don't know how much, maybe she looked like she was too fired up at times. And I think that when it comes to unscripted, Trump is going to excel a little bit more than Harris. Harris, I think, did a better job sticking to some of the kind of prepared remarks. But again, the biggest drawback, I think, for Harris is she's the party in power. And when it comes to inflation and stuff that people care about, those key issues, she's the party in power. And I don't think she has great answers on some of this stuff because if she's looking to turn the page, she's in power. And I think there's an appeal Trump is going to have. Trump did his thing. He took debate too many times, and he speaks with a lot of hyperbole. But if the appeal with Trump is that he's something different, and a lot of voters want something different, so there's that allure. That's how I see it. If Trump chose Larry Hogan for VP, do you think Hogan would accept? And what would he do to the ticket? No, I don't think Hogan would accept. I'd probably not. But what would he do? It's just so weird to think about because it's somebody who's so far apart from Trump. So you'd have a ticket kind of at odds with itself because people would be coming out for Trump, but then Hogan. It's just, I don't know how to even really think about that. And it's almost like as if he picked Liz Cheney as his running mate. How would that work? Or if Harris picked Tulsi Gabbard. If the ticket has no cohesion, it just seems like it'd be a bad outcome. Uh, today's video on the keys. Good breakdown. Yeah, I that video took a while to make. Actually, it took way longer than it should have. As over, I think it was a 14-minute video. That's kind of too much time, but I did want to get it all in there. People were asking me about the keys. I hope that kind of explains enough of it. Lickman and his 13 keys. I hope you watch the whole thing. Good video. Hopefully that answers it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try to make some more shorter videos. Uh, Hillary. Let's see. You don't say Hillary. Yeah, Hillary did barely lose. I do think the degree matters. I mean, I wouldn't put a landslide in the same category as a close one. How different can a candidate win this third run for the presidency? Yeah, people already know Trump a ton. There's nothing really left to know about him. They're either looking for change or they're not. Um, let's see. Kamala was drilling the turning the page when she continuously brought up J6, resorting to personal attacks and lies. Yeah, the turning the page, whatever, a new direction, new generation, I think is what she should be saying. But again, it's not like she's 40 years old and she's in office. Wasn't that long ago she was saying Biden is the guy. This guy is super sharp. And that's something I thought they should have brought up. That to me is a bigger issue that didn't really get even touched on much. Yeah, well, I think both sides have good cohesion. I think both sides are lining up on their picks for the VP. Yeah, it is after. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it down here in a second. I've been saying that for like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, nice to see you here. Thanks for enjoying the stream. we'll see you on the next one. Yeah, thanks for the 4K. Have a good night. Okay. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it here. So I think we're gonna kind of shut it down. So again, I hope I addressed enough of the questions, had enough commentary, covered this thing yet again. Again, apologies on the lack of the video or audio. I'm not really even sure what the rules are with that kind of thing, with copyrights and such. I try to find out, but it's not really that clear. So yeah, we're gonna cut it down here in about 1 minute. Except an abortion advance was brought up. Trump said he didn't talk to him about it. Yeah, he did not. He didn't talk to him about it. I think that's because Trump just doesn't really want to talk about that topic too much. Even though when he does, he confidently says everybody wanted it sent back down to the states. He appointed brilliant justices to the court. He speaks very confidently, but I don't think that had a great answer on that. And that little discrepancy in that issue, that is true. That topic, the abortion topic, is just one that it's not a great one for Republicans. And that's probably their big weakness. That is the biggest weakness. Anyway, well, that's going to be it here for this stream. I'm not sure when the next one will be. There's no guarantee there's going to be one for any other debates, but Election Day, November 5th, that's going to be the big one. It should be a lot more people because there's going to be a lot more going on. And that's going to wind this down. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Appreciate all the interaction. Like, share, subscribe, join if you'd like to support the channel. So have a good night. We'll see you on the next one.